All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. We'll get this thing started with volleyball. The Panthers wrapped up non-conference play this past weekend at the Hawkeye Invitational down in Coralville. UNI went 2-1 with victories over North Florida and South Dakota State, but fell to Iowa in straight sets on Saturday. Inga Rado and Emily Holterhouse were named to the all-tournament team, while Sydney Peterson was named the defensive MVP of the tournament. Now on to Missouri Valley Conference play, which begins Friday at Valpo, undefeated Valpo, 12-0, and UIC on Saturday, the first ever MVC meeting between the two programs. Here to talk volleyball, head coach Bobby Peterson.
Thanks, Joel. As I said last week, a lot going on this week. We had four matches in 5 days, so Iowa State on Tuesday. So I'll just talk briefly about the matches, and then if you have questions about any match in particular. Really love the way we performed at Iowa State. I thought we went in and we were just very locked into the match. I think the only thing that made me a little bit nervous, there was a time in set two where we were actually had won set one. We were ahead 17-21 in set two, and our people that keep stats on the bench said, hey, we're up 22, not 21. I debated on what to do about it. I ended up challenging it, and we never could really figure out what the actual score was, but finding out later they were right and we were wrong. But after that, they went on a run and ended up winning that set 25-22. So one of those coaching decisions that you're like, I just should have left it. But I didn't. But I was really proud of our kids the way we came back in the next set. We let it go. We were able to kind of refocus and get back into the match, and just really proud of our composure at Iowa State. Heading into the weekend, we had North Florida. A couple highlights. We had one of our best attacking matches. I think we hit over 300 and served really, really well. So we made them very predictable offensively. So it really helped our defense out. So those were some highlights. Huge battle against South Dakota State. They had an injury earlier that morning, and I thought their team came back and just was super resilient, played some of the best volleyball we've seen from that team on video, just played hard, played aggressive, and we, I think, felt a little bit off in that match. And so I was really proud of the way we hung in there and still found ways to score points, even when things that usually work for us were not working. We were ahead 2-1, and then the fourth set we were down, I think it was 18-23, and we were able to find a way to come back and win that set 35-33. We were out of subs, so we had one DS in the front row that just rotated the front row. If we would have went any longer, we would have had two DSs in the front row. So glad we finished it when we did. And then Iowa we had on Saturday, and it was a tough match for us. I thought Iowa played really, really well, so I give them a lot of credit. They put us in a lot of different situations, stressed us out in ways that we just really didn't do a good job of recovering from. They basically served us off the court in some ways. They had 10 aces in 3 sets, but I think even more than that, besides their aces, they really got us out of system. We passed a 1-4, which is well below what we normally pass, but that was a lot due to what they were doing behind the service line. It's really easy to be predictable when you're passing a 1-4, so it made it pretty easy for their defense to defend. We couldn't be balanced because we didn't have options because they put us in that situation. And then on the other side, I thought they were in system a lot, so putting a lot of stress on our defense because they could set anyone at any time. So I was proud of our kids. Didn't feel great. It was, it's an interstate match. I never felt like we gave up when you're getting served and not being able to put the ball in a position to get it to our attackers. It can be really deflating. But I thought our bench, the people out on the court, they really never gave up. They kept at it. So really proud of that. And again, kind of a tough way to end what our preseason has been. I'm super proud of what we've been able to do during the preseason tournaments. The last 4 weeks, we have grown a lot as a team. We went from 1-5 to 7-6, so really have made some changes, and that's even with not a lot of practice time like I've talked to all of you about. So we're super anxious to get back out on the practice court. We will take another day off today because we are tired, a little beat up, and just need some opportunities to get some rest, to get rejuvenated, to maybe get away from volleyball for a day. So we will do that today as well, and then get back after it tomorrow, where we will be getting ready for conference play, which we know is going to be absolutely crazy. We will prepare, obviously getting to do some things that we've seen that we need to get better at, but obviously preparing for Valpo and UIC. Haven't watched film yet. We will do that today. But Valpo, like Joel said, is undefeated, 12-0 right now. They were picked 5th, which was one above us. I know they dig a lot of balls, and I know they're balanced, and that's just from stats. And then you turn to UIC. They had a great non-conference season as well, going 8-4, playing some really good teams and beating some really good teams. They're leading the conference right now in hitting percentage. They have one of the best attackers leading the way as well. And I've heard they're an extremely good serving team. So lots to look forward to this coming weekend. I do want to give a shout out to all the Hall of Fame inductees. Big congratulations. We weren't able to be here to celebrate that, but we also had a volleyball student athlete from way past before my time even, so that's a long time ago. Kate Whitty, who was inducted, very proud of her and what she's been able to do. She had a great coaching career at Ohio Northern, and just so proud of her. And then also a shout out to everyone that came to our golf outing yesterday. We had over 150 golfers. I was in charge of the weather, so I rocked it with that. But it was a great day. We had a lot of supporters that support us not just on that day, but support us day in and day out throughout the year. So it was a lot of fun to spend time with those people. So thank you to all of them that came out. Any questions?
What have you thought about the serving so far for this team, not just in terms of producing service aces, but the approach going into it?
Yeah, I really love our serving, especially when you look at last year. I thought we were super tentative last year, and we'd have 1 or 2 errors, and we'd really back away. And this is a game of serve and pass. If you back away from serving, you're just allowing their offense to put a lot of stress on your defense being in system. And I feel like our kids have found that fine line between, okay, this is a time, we talk about it a lot in 80% of your serves going in. What's your 80% serve like? What's your 100% serve look like? So we talk a lot about that, and we put them in situations in practice where we try to put the stress on. It's obviously not the same as a match, but putting them in pressure situations and saying, okay, this has to be your 100% serve. And your 100% serve can't be basically an underhand serve. It still has to be a serve that's going to stress in some way. So very proud of our serving and our mentality towards serving. All right, thank you. I'll get you back. Hold on.
All right. Up next, we will have tennis. Adriana Burkic is on a roll. She went undefeated again this weekend up in Minnesota. They are almost done with the season, actually. So we'll have one more tournament and then the MVC championship. So up next, we have Coach Sagers.
Yeah, thank you. So another good competitive weekend for us up to the Gopher Invite, probably one of my favorite events. Just beautiful facilities, and they got a lot of strong players and schools there, so it's always fun. I'm just gonna start out with doubles, and I can't remember exactly every match. Each one of my players had 6 doubles matches over the weekend, but just some. The good news is I'm always kind of, thinking our doubles can be a lot better, and the Drake Invite the week before, it could have been a lot better. This weekend it was great. First day, Darda and Lorena won both their doubles matches, which was excellent. And I think we got wins from, everybody that day in doubles. Each day we played 2 doubles matches in a little mini tournament each day. And then I think Thaisa and Adriana won both their matches on Saturday in doubles. And then we kind of switched the lineup a little bit on Sunday. Had Darda and Lorena still playing together, but put Anna with Isa, and they got a win. And then Srilasi and Thaisa put them together, and they got a win as well. So overall, just really happy with doubles, which is good because we got conference in 3 weeks. So it's good to be clicking in, in that department. And then with singles, again, we had some good play. So obviously Michelle highlighted that. Adriana Burkic, she won the Drake Invite last week, and then she won her flight again this weekend. Won all 3 of her matches, including a tough one against a Marquette girl. Went 3 sets and pulled it out. Stayed strong mentally. So again, just really impressed by her play and her poise on the court, and just doing awesome. And Darda got 2 wins this weekend, which was good. And everyone played well. I know we had some other wins in there. Again, can't recount all of them, just a lot of tennis this weekend. But, you know, we're doing a lot better than we did last weekend, which is great, singles and doubles. We got a weekend off, and then 2 weeks we got the Omaha Creighton duels where we playing Omaha, Creighton, and Missouri State, I believe, in a dual match format before conference. So just a great weekend, and looking forward to just keep improving. Anything else for tennis?
In your time at UNI, have you had a roster with more fun names to say than this year's team?
Oh, I'm trying to think. The first one, my first year was might have taken it. I'm trying to go back. It's getting to be a few years ago now, but I don't know. Maybe because I recruited these players, so I feel more comfortable saying their names. But my first year, yeah, that was a little rough. Yeah, but yeah, no. At least Andriana, we can call her Anna, so that makes it a little simple, more simple.
Tournament play last weekend, and your next competition is a dual competition. In what ways is your preparation mentally and physically similar, and what ways are different from a tournament as compared to a dual setting?
Well, I guess mentally, you know, these first 2 weeks, you know, obviously the first two competitions of the year, just obviously they're going to have some nerves. It's, you know, they haven't, you know, some of them competed over the summer, but really we haven't competed since, you know, April of last season. And, you know, I'm like, don't put that extra pressure on what's the team going to, you know, say, because it's an individual tournament, you know, outside of doubles and, you know, being there with your doubles partner. These were individual tournaments. So now this coming up in 2 weeks, it's back to dual format. So your win counts as a team. So just a little extra, you know, I wouldn't say pressure, but, you know, now you're not only just playing for you, you're also playing for your team, which is good because obviously that's what spring's going to be. So, yeah. But it's good that we had two of these tournaments so already. So I think mentally everyone's doing pretty well. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Both men's and women's cross country was at the Redbird Invite. On both sides, they had 4 Panthers that placed in the top 20. And coming up this week, they will be off before hitting Missouri next week. So, welcoming back cross country's Dave Paulson.
Yeah, so we were Illinois State. You know, it was our first meet of the season. We opened up a little bit later than we typically do this year. So I think we definitely missed a little bit of like having an earlier race in the season to kind of get some of the rust kicked off. But we had some athletes do some good things. Kate Crawford and Sophia Jungling had excellent races on the women's side. And then Caleb Schumacher had a great opening race for us there as well. And so, you know, there's a lot of room to be gained and progress to be made. And, you know, we just got to get ready for the next opportunity, which in 2 weeks we go to Missouri. It should be a really outstanding race down there. It's where the regional meet is hosted in November. And so there's going to be a lot of schools coming in to get a look at that course. And so it should be a great opportunity to step out there. We're a little bit light on the men's side. We have some people out just, you know, early season, little nagging injuries, trying to get some of those put to bed, and so we can have a good stretch down the run here with everything. But team's in a good spot. Just looking forward to getting back to work this week. And I think the biggest difference we need to see is just tightening up our spread from our first runner to our fifth runner. And if we do that, there's a lot of progress to be made, a lot of points to be made up there. So just looking forward to the next opportunity in Missouri. Any questions with track or cross?
And especially early in the season, how difficult is it to kind of get into a good draining pattern weather-wise when you go to like 80s today, 90s tomorrow, and then suddenly back down to like 60s and 70s just a day or two later?
It's a little bit chaotic at times. When we do our hard workouts in the early fall, we do them in the morning. So we're practicing at like 6:30, 7 o'clock a.m. just to make sure we kind of beat the heat on that end. But it definitely, especially race day, you know, when the races or the race temps can get up into the 80s, you know, close to 90s in a September race, it's definitely tricky. You got to hydrate a lot and just kind of take it as it comes. But they're not unaccustomed to doing those types of things. But weather definitely does play a role a little bit. Awesome. I also want to give a shout out to our Hall of Fame inductees, Dirk Holman and Bob Friedman. Those two guys set a high standard for our program. Bob in the 70s and then Dirk in the early 2000s. And our program is in a better place because of people like them. And so congratulations to them and all the other inductees. All right, go Panthers.
Farley. Just a couple of announcements and housekeeping. We welcome Chris Kleinhonschulz back to the immediate family and not just the extended family. He will be taking over a lot of the volleyball duties. This will be my last week at UNI, so my last press conference. I will be out on Friday. Joel will take over the bulk of football and then all the other duties, essentially. He will also be your contact for volleyball still if you need to hook up a interview or with a coach or a student athlete. But Chris will definitely be helping us out with notes and pre-game information as well as post-game information. So that's kind of our situation now. We still have Liz Holbrook on staff. She is in charge of soccer and women's basketball and softball, so that will continue. But we will be looking for a replacement if you are interested. I will go ahead and get started because I'm sure Farley will walk through the door just as I'm about to finish up. So, coming off this loss to our first top 10 opponent of the year in football, but still really ranking high in a lot of those offensive stats with Theo Day in the top of the conference at number 2 and number 3 in most of those positions, as well as our passing offense. Very low in penalties, so number 2 in the nation for keeping all the penalties down. And next up, we will have Western Illinois at Western Illinois, so our second conference game of the year. Kick will be at 3 p.m. in Illinois. And soon to come, Coach Farley.
All right, how's everyone? Ready to go?
Are you good?
I'm good. Fire away.
Well, Coach, you talked about the need for this team to tackle better on Saturday. I can't imagine at this level you do a lot of that in practice. How do you go forward and improve in that aspect?
Attitude. This game, the plays are just as important as attitude. And attitude is whatever word you want to use. It's that energy that you needed to finalize a tackle, to finish a tackle, to hit a tackle. I mean, that comes from an instinctive moment to smoke somebody. And that's the idea of tackling. And that's how you have to play this game. If you don't play with that attitude, that edge, then you don't get the results you want. And it does need to be practice. It's the angle that you take, but it's the attitude is how you finish. And so there's just a few of those things that need to get cleaned up and finished up.
Any updates on Nick Ellis?
No, not right now. It was good news on right after the game that it wasn't fractured or anything. So now it just depends on how long it takes to come back from.
That attitude related to tackling, can that be developed? Is that something you're born with? How do you go about instilling that in someone? Can you?
Oh no, you can. You can. It can be instilled in anybody, and so it's. I don't know if we're not going to go out and change a whole lot of things to get. I'm not going to go out and tackle. I've heard these coaches who'll go out and tackle all week long and that type of stuff. I don't believe that's how you fix it. You kind of got to fix what's between the ears and what's in the heart before you can fix what's on the field sometimes. And I think you have to figure out what your problem is before you try to fix a problem. And that's what we're doing.
We talked a lot about tackling. Any other issues that have stood out to you right now through these first 3 games that we need to fix that?
Well, here's my take on everything. We're 12 minutes away from being 2-1. All right, and when you go in the 12 minutes, you're 6 points down with a whole fourth quarter to play. There's 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you're down by 6 in this last game against number 7 Sacramento State. You are 2 points down at North Dakota with 5 minutes to play. You do your 7-5. You're 12 minutes, guys, from finishing 2 games you haven't played well in, and being 2-1, and then you're on top of the world. And yet those 12 minutes are, everybody's looking at the missed tackles or the drop balls or whatever we're talking about. I just tell you how it is, and you clean those things up and you play an entire game and your issues are solved. So we can make it up to something big, or we can narrow it down to the fact that we missed 2 games by 12 minutes. And that was without playing to the level that our expectation is of what we can.
Sounds like maybe you're trying not to make too much of things right now and remind your team of, hey guys, like, we're good.
Well, yes, absolutely, and that's, it's how we coach. Is how I coach. It's like tell them the facts, and they know how to fix it. But if we just go out there and try to put some verbiage on a wall or try to say we got to tackle better, well, of course, it's pretty evident. But to tackle better, then you say, well, what drills are you going to do? It's not the drills. It's what you do the entire week. It's what we do today. It's what you do tonight. It's how you think, and that determines how you play. So yeah, there's a lot of things there that are very evident, and then you show up in the third quarter and do what you do in the third quarter to the same team that, just because they went fast, kind of stirred some things up. But I'm going to the same thing. Last year's team, everybody wants to look at what's different. Well, we went to Eastern Washington, and we're in the same situation out there when they went fast, and we lost our composure a little bit, and we gave up a big drive. And then we came right back, settled in, and played good defense again. When you lose your composure due to speed of play, you get caught up in the moment like, whoa, what's going on? And you're not thinking as quick as you should and reacting as quick as you should, and thus you don't look as good as you should. So there's a lot more things here at play than missed tackles. It's what I brought up that day because that's evident, but what's the cause behind it is what needs to be addressed.
Another couple turnovers from Dio. Do you get the impression that maybe as he continues to learn in this offense, that'll maybe, as time goes by, clean itself up technique or decision making a little separate of scheme familiarity?
Short question, big answer is there's a lot of things going on there. By one of those intercepts, the route was run incorrect, so the ball was behind. It got to be a tip ball for an intercept. So in respect to Theo, it's not always on the quarterback. Sometimes it's on protection. Sometimes it's on receivers. But he at quarterback, you take that role on. That you make a touchdown, they think it's you. You make an intercept, they think it's you. So don't worry about what they think, and then do the work that you do during the week and execute. That's all he needs to work on.
I think human nature for fans would be, let's look at the schedule. Let's see how the rest of the way looks right now with where we're sitting. Do you feel like with as many veteran players you have on your team that you even need to bring up, like, don't look ahead, make sure we're staying in our process day to day, week to week?
I think you have to bring that up no matter how experienced your players are, because we all need to hear that. Because at UNI, everybody starts to think that just because of what we expect and where we've been so many times. So, yeah, we all look to it, but you can look at that schedule. You start looking at the end result, and you never take care of the day-to-day process that we all hear about and talk about, and that's a big part of it. So, you should never talk about winning or losing. You should just talk about what you need to work on. Those are the teams that really perform well. It's not, I'm not a big goal guy even. I've never been that. It's more like my goal is to get better today. And if I do that today, then whatever goal you set, I should be able to attain. And it's kind of what that expectation of the daily routine is. And then, like you said, what are you telling your football team? Telling the football team to just make them aware of, you don't have to look for why. You just have to look from within to find the why. So quit looking for answers somewhere else than what's evident.
What's it say about Alex Allen that a young guy like that, waits 5 years to get a touchdown catch, and given the transfer portal and just how the culture's changed in college football, what would you say about where he's at right now as a tight end atop your depth chart, making plays in the run game and in the pass game?
You couldn't be happier more for him than how he's performing. He came in here, he worked his way up. He had the shoulder injury his senior year in high school, so he had to build his strength up here. He's always been a technician. He got on the field because he always knew he was in position to make the play. Now he's strong enough and big enough to be a productive player, and now he's making, because of his hard work and because of time spent, his results are coming. He wasn't worried about the why back then. He was worried about, what do I got to do? Now he's getting the results because he did what he had to do.
Same thing for Logan Wolfe, dealing with all the injuries.
That's another great example. You got Logan Wolfe, who's probably dealt more with, he's probably spent more time in this building than half the coaches, all right? Because he's had to come in and sit in that training room all the time to fix what has needed to heal, and he stayed with it. And the perseverance, I mean, it was probably harder on him mentally than it was physically to go through what he's gone through for 2 years. But yet to have the production that he's having now, and he's still not at 100%. So you can only imagine what he'd look like if he was at a pure 100%. And I think I told you guys that during the press conference at the beginning of the season. He'll only get better as the season progresses, should he stay healthy, because, shoot, it's a psychological warfare going on to overcome an injury like that, just as much as it is the healing process of Mother Nature in the training room.
You haven't really been around the guys since Saturday. Where's the team at mentally and keeping them engaged? Is that more difficult as the
No, I've been around them. And no, you don't have to go find them. They come find you. So that's what's great around here is, man, you don't run from your problems around here. You go headstrong into them. And no, I've seen most of these guys have I've seen them all, but I've had others even, not just about football. So yeah, I probably see them more now.
You don't like talking about wins, don't like talking about losses, goals. What are you looking for against Western Illinois on Saturday?
I'm looking for a good practice tomorrow. All right, I'm looking for a good practice tomorrow, and we'll go from there. I mean, I'm pretty simple, man. I think my answers are pretty consistent that we do what we do, and we just haven't played the 4 quarters of football that I want. I've seen good offense, but I've seen some things that we can clean up on offense. I've seen good defense and some things that we can clean up. And yet I don't even think we're close to what we could be in as early as tomorrow or next Saturday. But right now, no, I'll never tell you how we go to practice, and I'll never tell you we did this at practice and we tackled more and we had this genius plan. Nah, man, this comes from the work that you do during the week and the mindset you have on Saturday. Anybody else? Don't look scared, man.